like if we're talking about a situation where in any sense of the word, we're talking about stalking, where if anyone online is being negative towards someone else and then they show up to your house, regardless of whatever they think you are, it's stalking, or harassment or whatever. Apparently, this person said they've been following me for days. Again, stalking.
Oh.
So, when you have that situation with anyone, it's open and closed. This is horrible, and I'm just wondering how does anyone release stuff like that to a stalker?
How did anyone get the full conversation anyway?
Right, and I'm also wondering how YouTube's okay with this. You know, like wasn't there this whole scandal about it was like with Jake Paul or something like that where they filmed someone's house and they got sued?
Yeah, Post Malone.
Wait, they got sued for filming a house?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Post Malone's house.
He filmed Post Malone's house?
Yes.
And Post Malone sued him?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Right. So, it's very confusing. You know, it's
so why can't Chris Hansen, because he filmed outside your house, didn't he, and then posted it on YouTube?
I'm constantly amazed because I think no one's crazy enough to do that, and then it happens, and then I'm like, no one's crazy enough to actually brag about it, and then there's bragging about it. I'm like, no one's crazy enough to, actually fully like post additional stuff that has been posted, and then they do it, and I'm like, wait, how is any of this allowed? I'm just so confused. Like, how is it a thing that
I don't think it was allowed.
Because let's say hypothetically that somebody cheated on their wife, and they did it with a mistress, and their wife left them, and they owe $60,000 to a credit card company or something like that, and they got evicted from their home for not paying rent for a month, and all these things. Let's say someone did that, and I felt that because they did all these things, that I could just show up to their house after making a series of hateful videos about them. Would I not be in jail? Is my question. Because I feel like anyone else would be in jail right now.
I actually don't know
if
you would.
It's like harassment
I think
as well.
you need some kind of license. What are they called? Investigation journals or something?
Yeah, journalism. Investigative.
They need a license and then they're allowed to do that. Is
right.
That how that works?
Right.
I'm not sure.
You're talking about someone being fired, or their show otherwise being canceled, or their contract not renewed, I should say, after someone killed themselves as a result of their show or whatever, and then being sued for $100 million. So you're talking about somebody who, they're done. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, where's the credibility, and why is it just because these people are old as shit that it's okay?
I don't know.
I saw the likes to dislikes ratio. I saw the likes to dislikes ratio in this video, and it had 15,000 likes and 32 dislikes, and I'm like, has the world lost its mind? Because if this happened to anyone, this would be unacceptable.
James, did you see he just started working with this lawyer who has a past of sexual?
I don't give a shit about anything in his his fucking life. I don't want to know about his shitty fucking sexual predator or whoever he's working with. I don't care. It's not my business. I really just want nothing to do with this person because it's fucking creepy. I mean, when someone shows up to your house, you want nothing to do with them because they're psycho. Because that's what psychos do. Yeah. and I'm just so freaked out by the boundaries that were crossed, and it seems like there's just cheering. I'm fairly certain if someone really doesn't like someone, that whole thing of if Trump shot someone in the middle of Times Square, he'd still get elected. That whole thing. That's what I feel like is going on.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like is going on. It's
he actually said it though. He said that, and people
Yeah. But I feel like morals are gone. It doesn't fucking matter anymore. Nothing matters. It's only what would satisfy them to give them their entertainment kick, and that's it. People aren't people. They're just fucking a way to be amused for the day.
They do place a lot of value on entertainment, for sure.
That just sounds like the internet as a whole anyway, just jumping
That's
on
true. That's more internet culture.
That's why you deal with shit in real life, That's why
Yeah,
you fucking handle shit in real life. If you have a problem with someone, you use the legal system. You don't make video after video after video. And I don't understand why no one seems to understand that concept. If someone's
I
violating
think
your
people
rights,
are forgetting that like this is your life. Like it's not just like it's on the internet. Like oh wow, like it is your life.
yeah. Well,
they confuse the character with the actual person.
I don't know if they did. I think that it's not about any of that. It's not about the truth. It's not about character or anything like that. It's literally about them wanting to be mad at somebody for shit that's not even real.
Well,
Like
it's
I'm sitting here and I hear things
universe.
about me, and I'm surprised. And it's like, and it's been this stuff like this has been happening for like, I think like 8 years, where I'd hear stories about myself and I'd always be surprised. Be like, how did people come up with that shit? That's fucking crazy.
It's just weird how it escalated.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know what's the end. I'm getting to the point where I'll expect pretty much anything.
I think it's really interesting with you because like I've been watching you since like 2010, and there's always been some sort of like controversy, like no matter what.
Yeah, but it's always like people are mad, but nobody can do shit because it's not a real thing. If it was a real thing, it would be taken care of legally.
It's just
Exactly, it's just made up bullshit.
Drama, pretty much.
Well, it's what I don't get is that like it just doesn't fucking shit doesn't seem to operate the same in people's minds. Like if you steal money from a billionaire, nobody cares, right? You steal money from a poor person, everybody cares. Like for instance, when PewDiePie got robbed, people made fun of him, and I'm thinking the guy did get robbed. That's pretty terrible. There were a couple things I laughed at, specifically the joke about someone stealing his SS uniform. But other than that, it's like you do have to realize these guys actually did get robbed, and that's fucking terrifying, you know?
Yeah, that's
And
scary
whoever it is.
because then you don't feel safe.
And it's interesting how many people point at each other and go sociopath, 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 and they don't realize that what they are doing is behavior which is not caring or considerate or compassionate about other human beings just because they've chosen to not associate emotionally them with human beings. Like they look at a celebrity or something like that and they say nothing that happens to that person matters, and that's what's crazy. And then they ask for people to care about them. That's why when you brought up the lawyer, I was like, I don't give a shit. You know, I don't give a shit about whatever someone says about some fucker I never met and don't know, because that's not my business, and I don't know the full story.
And you don't want anything to do with it.
Right, but also when you don't know the full story, it's like, why are people so obsessed with like going after people when they haven't? Like, if they tell the story themselves, okay. If you've heard both sides of the story, so to the point where both people are saying the same thing, then that makes sense. We have an agreed upon reality. But when you have, like, fucking, oh, so-and-so says they stabbed someone else, and that person hasn't talked about it or something like that, so they're a stabber. What the fuck ever. And then they all go on to cancel stabber. It's like with James Charles. You know, everyone was ready to lynch James Charles without hearing the full side.
Oh my gosh, he came back so hard though. Like I didn't even know about him before any of this, and then I just find out that he comes back like with receipts and like. Here's the
problem
really
though.
Cool.
Here's the problem. When you come back, or when you fight back, you're directly going to hurt somebody, and that's success. Like
wait,
that Tati chick, she got a buttload of hate because of him coming back.
Oh no.
And that's the thing, is it's always hurting someone. And you know, and people will just keep hurting you and hurting you and hurting you if you don't fight back. But at the end of the day, you're talking about a massive horde of people who just want to hate and they don't really care. Because either they're going to hate on one person or the other. They want to pick one person right. People can't just be people. They can't both be wrong or both be right. Someone has to be right, someone has to be wrong. So then they gotta rip someone apart. So when you defend yourself, you're saying this is why you should be pissed off at this other person. This is why you should give this other person a hard time. Well, what if that other person has a mental disorder? Or what if that other person is suicidal? Or what if that other person, you know, is at a really bad place in their life? Do you really want to fight back? Because, like, me personally, if I knew the other person was suicidal, or I knew the other person had a mental disorder, I knew the other person was really fucked up and couldn't possibly handle whatever, I would rather just be criticized. I'd rather people
Even if
hate
they
me.
were like sending people to like send you death threats and stuff, you'd still rather not.
Listen,
at least defend yourself.
Defending yourself means calling the other person horrible things. Among them, liar, fraud, all that shit. And it's like, I can say, this is not true about me, or this is unfair to be said, or this is out of context, or this is not accurate, because there's so much more to a story. And I could prove it. I could violate non-disclosure agreements. I could do all that stuff, but instead, I prefer to just not engage. And what the problem is you got a guy who's like, now's the time to tell your side of the story, showing up on your fucking doorstep, and you're like, you can't bully someone into entertaining your audience and making you money, because that's what you want. Because you don't have people going after human traffickers or pedophiles or anything like that. You don't have them doing a Google search and looking for everybody who has actually admitted to something horrible or has actually caught on surveillance doing something horrible or anything. You don't have the people going after that because they don't sell in the video titles. Nobody knows who they are, so they don't care. What they want to do is they want to see somebody who's well-known be torn apart. And I'm speaking from personal experience. I was talking to somebody about this. God, it was my last Skype. I was talking to someone on my last one-on-one Skype, and I was telling her, it's like,
Hello?
yeah.
Brain fart.
Oh my God, I'm flawed.
You had the biggest brain
Oh, bless you.
Oh, bless you. Bless you, Sneezy.
No, it was a good point. That's a really good point. What was I talking about?
You were talking about babies.
No,
he was.
The last one-on-one.
Something he said on
Yeah, you had a one-on-one with someone.
Yeah, but just before that.
That's all you got to.
There was
No.
a sneeze.
Just before that, I said something. It wasn't just like silence, and then I was
Good
like,
talk.
You were talking about going to people's houses
no,
and stuff. No?
no.
Nobody pays attention to
You
real
said you were
pedophiles.
having a good
Know their name.
Were you guys just listening to the sound of my voice and not hearing words come out?
You said something about a one-on-one Skype.
No,
Yeah. You said a one-on-one.
You were saying that you were
I know, but did you guys black out? Did I say nothing before that?
I don't know. My memory.
You were saying
It was really important, but clearly it wasn't important.
You were saying that you don't know. And
How
that
would
you
we
wouldn't fight
remember
back.
what
You were saying you wouldn't fight back, and that's where. And you said you had a good point with someone on Skype.
Yeah.
You didn't say.
You cut yourself off because you had a brain.
Because I got distracted about the Skype thing.
It was.
Yeah, fuck it,
You said you had a. Alright.
Hey, positivity. Good.
So how you doing?
It was nice. While I had my
He
little
said
rant.
that they weren't going after real pedophiles because nobody pays
Yes,
attention because nobody knows who they.
Why did you only hear pedophiles? I said human traffickers too.
I was trying to get that out quick. Sorry.
It doesn't sell. Oh yeah, this is what I was gonna say. It's the part where I make myself a little bit woke with my woke SNL pants.
Oh snap!
No, okay. So when I went after Social Repose and I criticized Eugenia Cooney and her promoting eating disorders. At first it was like help Eugenia Cooney, but then she wanted bend to my video pressure. So then I was like, well, Eugenia Cooney is promoting eating disorders, yada yada yada. When I made all these videos, you didn't see me. Social Repose, allegedly, according to his own admission, I guess he admitted it, cheated on his girlfriend with 4 women, right? You didn't see me going after complete nobodies who cheated on 8 women, or 16 women, or 32 women. You didn't see me going after people who were serial cheaters to the extreme degree. You didn't see me going after people who snuck in ex-girlfriends' rooms and stabbed their teddy bears or anything. Ridiculously horrible crimes. Not that that's a good example, but what I'm saying is that you didn't see me talking about anything except for things that would get me clicks. And the same goes for pretty much everybody on fucking YouTube. You don't see them talking about things that really, 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 really matter. Like this whole thing. This whole thing with Iran is important, but so is people starving to death. So is people getting cancer without any explanation. In the masses, the number one cause of death in our country is what? Like fucking medical problems. What is the number one cause?
Heart disease.
I thought it was cigarettes.
There you go. It's probably heart disease. So you don't see people talking about heart disease because it doesn't sell. And when you start to realize how incredibly fake we are, and how people love doing this shit for money,
That's gross.
you're just sitting here going, what the fuck is the point of any of it? Because if I'm only going to talk about Eugenia Cooney's disorder or her former disorder, I mean, I'm sure she still has problems, but like she's made progress. If I'm only going to talk about that, if I'm only talking about celebrity A, B, and C, and not real world issues, then the obvious reason for what I'm doing is there.
Yeah.
And it seems like we've all been drunk. Like we all completely just got drunk on our self-obsession and not realizing how shallow our focus is, and on all these things.
I think it's important.
They're so irrelevant too in the real world. Like this stuff, the drama stuff.
I'm not. I think what I'm saying is that I'm losing. I've lost. Like the internet has taught me to not have faith in the internet, and that the real world is so much more important. Just because in the real world, when I talk to somebody, they hear me. Online, when I talk to somebody, they hear whatever they want to hear, and so it's kind of like
Selective hearing.
So it's so bizarre.
That is
really.
internet culture for you. Internet culture has been very strange.
And again, that's why you don't do a fucking interview with people who have more to gain from you being a monster than from you actually being who you are. That's insane. Because can you imagine someone building their whole channel on this narrative that you're a piece of shit, and then you go on there and you're actually the opposite? How bad that is for them.
He would twist everything that you would say anyway. Like I feel like that's how he would put it.
Apparently,
Okay, the fact that you can twist you showing up to someone's house, someone you get negative attention, someone who threatened legal action against you, already threatened legal action against you, the fact that you would show up to that person's house and somehow spin that like you're the good guy blows my mind.
That does blow my mind too.
Blows my fucking mind. Because anyone else does that, and you're probably going to jail, dude.
You should have just opened the door and gave him a kiss and blown his mind.
It would probably call that harassment.
Some people have families and real world. Like this is not a fucking reality show.
I know.
This is someone knocking on your door. Okay, this is someone who's approaching your little sister, your little brother, your grandma, who the fuck ever, the people in your real life, and they're bringing their need for money and attention into your personal life and into innocent people's lives, and they're trying to collect profit and clout, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like seriously, this is not fucking MTV. Get the fuck off my property.
Yeah, and you did the right thing by calling the cops because that shit was whack.
What the fuck was I supposed to? What would anyone do? And I'm sitting here going like, what does someone expect? If you have threatened legal action against somebody, and you have said, you need to cease and desist, dude, because this shit is bullshit, and you know it is.
Yeah,
You didn't think for one second that you were
you
going
have
to actually
you have person after person after person coming on your show who doesn't have shit to say because there's nothing there, and then they say, fuck off, I'm tired of the harassment, and you go, oh, well, just come on my show. You're like, why the fuck would I go on your show? Why? Why would anyone? Only a dumbass goes on your show because you have one narrative. And then they show up, and then after all this bullshit, they show up to your house and people applaud. And you're sitting here going, what the fuck crazy world do I live in? Like, you feel like kind of like you're sold as property to the public and you no longer have a life of your own.
So somebody obviously made lies about you, and now it's gone blown up, right?
I've never heard someone say made lies. No. Here's how life works for a lot of people. When you are on good terms with somebody, they will say the nicest things about you. when you decide that you don't want someone in your life anymore, they're going to think about everything they could ever possibly do or think about to make it like they hated you the whole time. They secretly
the same way with my assistant manager. He was like harassing me during work.
I'm having the same problems, dude. Oh, she hates me so much.
I think the thing is as well, like, I've not even heard of half the people that, like, are involved in this, but now everyone knows their names, so it's all for clout as well.
Well, I don't... you and me both. I actually... I think I've had an actual conversation with maybe 1/3 or half of the people on that show.
Oh my god.
The other half, I don't know. I have never fucking spoken to them. Never had a conversation to them. So I'm like looking at this going, who the fuck are these people? And it's so weird. And you know, when people do that, there's one side who's on, you know, who knows me personally, and they're like, who the fuck are these people? I'm like, I don't know. And then there's the other side who are like, that's 16 women, and you're like, who the fuck are they though? Because you're talking about like people just piling up, and all they're doing is like jotting down a number. They don't need to do any credential check. They don't need to verify that this person was ever in your life. All they want is that fucking number to say that this is a person who stands against it. So I'm like, when I
like,
go,
it's that easy. Like,
and here's another thing. They don't have to say that you did anything illegal. They don't have to say that you did anything wrong. When you have an agenda, you see this. Oh, number so and so person. That's another person who's come out about abuse, or they'll say whatever the fuck. And for this person that I've never had a conversation. Yet that's not how the other side would say it. And if you conveyed this to someone in an interview, all they're hearing is so and so is in denial. They're trying to gaslight these people, and you know it's whatever narrative you can have. So you're sitting here in this, and you're sitting here in this cesspool of insanity, and you're like, do I even want to participate? And the answer is obviously no. Because it's like a tornado of dumbassery, and you don't. There's nothing you can say that will make anyone hear what's actually coming out of your mouth.
It's mostly
they just want everything to fit their narrative.
Of course, that's why when I was doing the Onision Speaks videos and me melting down, people believed it, and it's like that's ridiculous. It's absurd that anyone would.
I still can't believe people believe that.
It's amazing.
Acting was so like obvious. I don't even get that. Like,
oh come on, I'm not that bad.
Okay, not like that. I just mean like it was over. They were funny.
Ha 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 ha.
They just wanted to believe that bad things were happening.
Yeah, I think they wanted.
It was like their own fantasy.
I saw that on Chris Hansen's video, like people in the comments being like, "Oh wait, Greg has a house? I thought he lived in a tent." I'm like, "Are you serious?" Like,
yeah, they were like, "Oh,
really?
Like a cloud tent.
Those videos intrigue me a lot.
Cloud
I know that you're not that dumb.
Clown. Man, James has some great Wi-Fi in that tent. I'm telling you.
Don't be ridiculous.
Ha 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 ha, Donnie.
Oh, that's why you were gone, Wiggy.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a life. I got a job.
Okay, I know, but you just never mind.
But she kicked me out of the server.
Well, it's why I was like, was it because of the laugh? And then I think it was because like you like bummed me out.
Holy shit, is that Wiggy? Holy shit, what the fuck, Wiggy? What the fuck is up, bro?
It was because of...
And I just want to remind all of you guys that you were apparently monsters too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we know.
Oh yeah, I'm a
But if I'm the monster...
Calling out the monsters.
So when I talk to
Yeah.
you,
Oh.
when I talk to you, isn't it kind of something sadly relatable in regards to people ripping you apart for doing something that is completely misunderstood?
I don't care.
I mean, disgusting, actually. Like, they'll call everyone and everyone who used to associate with you a victim, yet if they're still currently, then they're suddenly just as bad. And it's like, make up your damn mind.
What's wrong with you? Am I a victim or am I, like, an abuser?
I feel like they should make up their minds.
I find it funny that people take their time out of their day to actually send all of us messages and say, "Oh, you're you're horrible." Oh my god, that's really.
Hey,
They're
James.
obsessed. Like,
I'm really impressed by you guys because it is kind of surprising that there's even a person left for me to talk to. Just because of the fact that it's like there's such an overwhelming resistance. There's an overwhelming resistance to my existence. Like I tweeted this thing. I said a long time ago. I said, I'm an amazing comedian or something like that because.
I'm a comedian, I swear.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so I said I'm an amazing comedian because even when I die, people will laugh. Or something like that. And it's
Dark
true.
humor.
People are going to be so happy when I die. And that's funny to me.
It's a little sad.
But, life is we take it very seriously. But at the same time, like, when I look at war films and how people had the same value as bullets in some in situations, or they didn't even have the value of a bullet. Like, people were running out of bullets, so they wouldn't even waste bullets, quote unquote, on the people. They would instead find other ways to end their lives. Like, when you find people who treat life that trivially, that's a word.
Yeah, that is a word.
I look at my own life and I'm just like, I'm not that special. Life is a little bit. And here's the thing. One person dies, there's a bunch more just. I'm sorry, I don't mean to bum you guys out. Never mind.
I'm gonna keep my.
You weren't bumming me out.
I was already bummed.
My job.
I was like, I'll talk about it like later, but not right now.
How many minutes are you going to be sitting in here?
How many minutes?
Yes. Calculate all of them.
Are you gonna be here longer?
I'm used to that question, the minutes question.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like until my heart feels better, I guess.
Okay. I just wanted to ask because I have to do something real quick, and I didn't want to come back to no one in the chat.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yes.
I don't know.
You're still gonna have 1,000 babies.
99.
Bless you.
Oh
my god, who is that? That keeps sneezing. It's terrifying.
Plug sneezes.
Pets.
Say what?
Be right back.
Oh, okay. I guess I have no answer.
Okay, bye.
What's scary though is that I don't know. I can't even talk about that. There's a lot of scary shit.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Did anyone see the new? Not to go off topic and completely diffuse the
Yes,
realness
please
of the
go off
conversation.
topic.
But
Killing the mood.
did any of you guys see the Morbius trailer?
Oh yes, you just put it on Tweetar.
Yeah, I saw that you posted.
It looks really cool. Although I feel
Marvel's just like
feel
shitting
like-
them out like a machine
I
gun.
don't know what it is, but I feel like being famous sucks. Though.
It does. You don't have to say that.
Oh yes, that is
Like,
true.
I don't think
They
you
say it
should
drives you
look at
crazy.
Jared Leto and be envious because he probably sucks being him.
The thing
It destroys a lot of people.
The thing that bothers me is that people
Paparazzi.
start having opinions. Either they love you or they hate you. There's no in between. And when you get more popularity, then more opinions are voiced about you. And then people don't even want to do their research about you. And they listen to other people. And then they just come up with, like, oh, they said they don't like this person, so I don't like them either. Media portrayed them this way, so I'm going to believe what media said.
I want to ask you guys a question. I asked the person I Skyped with this question, but how many people has Hansen interviewed who were innocent?
Innocent in what?
How would we
Oh,
know
I'm gonna
that?
research that up.
You mean
That's
like
actually
never did
really
anything
interesting.
What do you
wrong in their whole entire life? Or...
Bro, what?
Oh
Didn't
god,
they
yeah, I
all
remember
have, like,
that.
poop or something?
No. I don't think you guys understood the question. What I'm saying is, when this individual pursues people, how many people did he actually interview that were innocent as far as people he pursued?
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Do you know?
Zero.
Yeah.
None of them. Who knows, really?
Zero.
Yeah, because they had.
Because only someone dumb enough to be a criminal would be dumb enough to be interviewed by him.
I mean, look at who runs Chris Hansen's live streams. That Vincent guy.
Criminal.
Look at the Vincent guy.
Don't even get me started on.
Yeah.
And you gotta realize, and this is why I can't be on anybody's. This is why I'm demanding people like pay me to be on their show, because they're making money, and they're making money not only on the pain of alleged victims, they're making money on the pain of everyone else involved.
James, do you know if like the people who are actually being interviewed by Hansen are getting paid for being on there?
You heard
I
that?
don't think they are.
I don't think they are, and that's kind of the problem. Because you pay them, and then they have incentive to say horrible things. You don't pay them, and then you're making money off their pain, their alleged pain. So it's just this is why you do it. You deal with the legal system. This is why you sue people, or you contact the police and report crimes, and you do things like that, because then nobody is actually making a career off people's suffering. And so when I'm sitting here and I'm asked to, the only reason people are magically talking to me all of a sudden, is because they want to get the drama, they want the dirt, they want to hear every nasty thing that I could possibly say. And I'm sitting here going, well, I don't want to say nasty things, and if I'm going to talk about it, I want to be paid because you're being paid. And that's where you find no one willing to pay, because this is all about money. They don't want to lose money, they want to gain money. So they're not going to pay me, because that would mean they're losing money. Nobody actually wants the real story unless it means they make money. And so I'm just sitting over here and I'm going, this is all fucking... It's one of the most disgusting things I've ever encountered on YouTube. And I'm looking at the whole YouTube system, I'm just like, how is this a thing? How is this allowed? And YouTube has a new anti-harassment policy. It doesn't apply to anyone popular. It only applies to popular targets. Like if people don't like you and you say something mean about someone else, you're gonna be gone. It's done. But if people like you and you say something horrible, then everyone's plotting, and it's fine. It's like the popular kid trips you in class. He's not gonna get in trouble.
No, but that's not right though.
You're subhuman compared to the popular kid in class.
What is this,
You're just sitting there becoming Mexican Joker.
None of us are in high school anymore. Let's use a non-high school. I don't want flashbacks.
Unfortunately. You know what? I would argue with you, but as soon as I started going to college, everyone was a fucking civil human being.
Dude, literally, actually.
What? There were no bullies in college. Did you guys get bullied in college?
Bro, no, I'm in college right now, and I'm in a sorority, and I feel great.
From people that I thought I could trust, but
Okay, see now you fucked me up because you reminded me of hazing, which is bullying.
Yeah.
My chapter doesn't haze, so we don't haze. But there's a chapter, guys. I have sorority tea. Want to know some tea about this really positive sorority? So there's this sorority that's nearby my dorm, the freshman dorms, because I'm a college freshman. I'm 19, but like, they are very I heard all these stories about how they haze. They're very exclusive. I don't know, but so this is what I learned how they haze. So all of the new pledges, they are dressed in really scandalous lingerie, and they perform a Victoria's Secret fashion show for the frat next door. It is confirmed, and they got in huge trouble.
And I was just slut shamed throughout all of high
don't
school
slut shame. If they
Yes,
want to put on a
else?
Victoria's Secret show, let them do it for the college people.
What's that mean? Is that amazing then?
Let me put it to you this way, and let's talk about the gender issue. If guys were to put on a man show for the girl dormitory, I personally would probably be down for that. If I was in a dormitory in college and they wanted me to do some kind of box or dance or whatever, I'd probably be into that. First of all, I'd be more in shape than I am now. But secondly, it would just be fun to act like a dumbass and to go up there and just be stupid. So,
you can be as stupid as you want in college and nobody cares.
Here's another thing, like slut shaming and stuff, it keeps a lot of people from earning shitloads of money online. For sure. I knew people in Patreon who were making $20,000 a month, not even showing nudity.
What about those girls who raised over $1 million for Australia?
Alright, so this is what happened to my Patreon. I posted a text that was of someone I used to know, and I said, it was so nice when we were civil with each other. This was a really nice thing they said to me, something along those lines. It was a very nice thing. And then after a few minutes of it being up, I thought, wait, did I crop that one? And it turned out I didn't crop it, and there was a number at the top, so I deleted it, and Twitter couldn't do anything about it. Really, no one could do anything about it because it was an accident. And then Patreon decided to say that I was using Patreon to fund doxing. They said they used that exact terminology. They said, your Patreon exist to fund doxing, and I'm like, what the actual fuck are you talking about?
Wait,
my
like
Patreon funds my projects, it funds the Discord events, it funds everything. And they didn't give a shit. They just completely destroyed it. Despite that. So, that was fun.
That's why you weren't responding to my Patreon messages.
I'm not on there anymore.
Because it doesn't exist. Yeah, maybe. Depends. When did you message me?
Like a while ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I have.
It's like 3 months.
It's been like a couple months, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess at some point someone's gonna create something new, and then there's a whole different set of
Yeah,
things.
well, that's just life, man. If you look up how many businesses are going out right now, there's a lot.
Blockbuster.
Well,
What?
Blockbuster's been dead, sweet.
Hello, 2003. Like, what was that?
Sorry.
So I was like,
2012 they went up
at the time I was like listening to Britney Spears too. I don't know. I was like,
hey, Britney
5
Spears is the
when I
shit,
listened to
man.
Britney Spears. I tell you, when I was little, I thought when I saw the
She's
tank
cutting
top,
off
I was
for me
like,
too,
I was
guys,
gonna wear
here.
the tank top like her. I had no idea. I was just like, hey, I want to be cool like that. It's like, I don't know. I guess I was a little scandalous even when I was little. So. I don't know.
We didn't get. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pretend like we heard it. Pretend like we heard it.
Come on.
Oh no, I'm
Did you
like
hear her?
24, so don't mind me.
I heard everything.
Just thinking about like when I was little and how things haven't really changed much. No.
Yes, totally.
Hey, a question.
Yes.
Did anyone of you guys feel like there was a problem with my 911 call?
What's the question?
No, I think it was very.
A problem? What do you mean?
Straightforward.
Like with what you said?
Just anything, because you have people who try to meme it, and the stuff they were quoting was, I don't know how that was a meme, but I was what I took out of it, and I was, oh my gosh, I said thank you. That was so polite. That's what I took out of it. I didn't really hear anything that was like a problem. I just thought it was like, I thought it was relatively calm and told them exactly what was going on.
I think
I saw people
like
I thought they were supposed to stay on the line with you. I've never known like they like hung up like that. I never had that experience.
I do feel bad. I do feel bad because I was talking about a mental disorder and I was like, oh fuck, that's gonna.
Oh yeah, that was kind of a little like like the PD thing.
No, okay. So here's the thing. When you're talking to 911, you tell the absolute truth. That's just a rule. You have to do that. When you're talking to a police officer, you tell the absolute truth. You do not lie to police officers. You do not lie to anyone. Because as we learned from, recent political events, certain authorities, if you lie to them, you can go to jail. So it's good to tell the absolute truth. I didn't want that to be public. I didn't want me talking about mental disorders or anything like that to be public in the sense that I don't want to attack people. It's not pleasant to me. And now people involved are going to hear that and they're going to get super offended and they're going to say more horrible things. I don't know what they're going to say, but they're going to say more horrible things. And so I'm sitting here going, fuck, I was telling this person so they would understand the situation. I wasn't telling them so anyone would be hurt. And now that person's going to be upset again. And then be
James,
even
no
more
matter what
whatever.
you say, like, it's still gonna be, like, taken in, like, the wrong way. Like, no matter what.
Part of adulthood is knowing that no
all
matter
about
who you
high
are,
school.
what you do,
There's
someone's
always going to be someone that
for
comes
being
along
there.
and misinterprets what you're trying to say.
People will always hate you no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter who you are or where you are in life, somebody's gonna hate you.
So this is a very special situation where everyone, not just
Well,
people.
in this case,
We live in a society.
People here that don't, so.
Yeah,
No,
it's
it's
not
not
everyone.
matter
Not
what
everyone
It's a
hates
very
someone.
strong word.
Someone's gonna hate you.
for
Not everyone hates
nothing.
someone, but everyone is hated by someone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, some people love to hate and hate to love, so there's a love-hate thing. I mean, some people are obsessed with one person, then you think, hey, what, they seem like so obsessed in a way.
Well, that's
Don't
what
you
seems
think
like a
they're
lot of
upset?
people are.
This is
I don't like this person so much. It's making
So
me
I'm
feel
completely
things
obsessed with
everywhere.
To where you have to stalk them. Oh my god.
Exactly.
It gets to a point
It's like,
where like
what are they
you're like
doing?
dehumanized.
Like this vibe, we all talking over.
Do you guys think that there's ever a point, like let's say if you have people come in and out of your life or something like that, and you keep telling people that you don't want them to be in your life, and people keep coming to you for answers as to why things ended, why you didn't want them in your life, or what dirt you have on them, etc. Wouldn't at some point you just kind of lose your desire to drag
Interact
anyone?
with people.
Just drag anyone, because like, and that's the problem. When you stop dragging people, when you stop making, chronological event by event by event, because you guys know how some of you do know how I used to do that. I would actually document things and go step by step as to how everything happened. And then my videos would all, I don't remember a single time when they were like, overwhelmingly, you're wrong. I think in 2016 was the first time anybody was like, you're wrong. But prior to that, it was nothing but like me documenting shit and people going, okay, this is real, yada yada yada. But at some point, like that's not something that you feel good about, and that's not something that you're proud of yourself for. And when you start catching on that this is making you miserable, you kind of try to stop talking shit about people.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, you're probably not going to be happy, at least while you're doing that. So you're kind of cursing yourself. But what's shitty is that when you develop an expectation of yourself to talk shit, it seems like people don't leave you alone until you talk shit.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody talks shit about you, you're obligated to talk shit about them. Otherwise, you are everything they say. That seems to be like the world.
Not necessarily. Like they're just
Or
waiting
you could
for
not
your
care.
response.
Interesting.
Like,
But sometimes
you
if you
kind
do
of got
that,
to
then it's
start
even worse.
showing up to your
So
door
when people
and
repeat
yelling at
it
you.
over
Oh, my
and over
bad.
again,
I just
Then
got
they'll be
here.
told, look, they talk shit. They are even more evil than I said. You know.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it's everybody saying
differently
this
under
is
the
why this
internet.
person's beneath me, and that sucks. That sucks to me. Here's the thing, okay? I have a mental thing. I have depression. Okay, I have a mental disorder. Right? I'm not better than the other person for whatever disorder they have. I'm not better, but I am allowed to say that someone should not be in my life because of it. Because it is a. Let me put it this way: there have been multiple instances. Two of the people who were on Hanson's show, in which I bolt locked my door because I was afraid they were going to murder me while I slept. So when you have to do that, you're talking about a mental disorder that affects you in a way that could cost you your life. Okay? So it's not that I'm trying to say I'm better. It's that I'm trying to say when you're scared of people, you cannot have them in your life. And it's surreal to see it turn into something like I'm a piece of shit for not wanting that in my life, or for not allowing that in my life, and for actually taking a stand against that.
Rejection makes people feel completely insane.
What if it's a child?
Yeah,
Well, here's the thing: when you already are going through something mentally and you get rejected, it's like Chernobyl. It's fucking
Yeah, it's like just fuel. The people literally go crazy.
right, and then you're stuck with like the. This is I told this person if I could go back in time, the advice I'd give myself is to literally not talk to people, to not make any friends, and if I collaborated with anyone, to not make friends with them, to just work with them professionally, because when you get to know people, you start to see the cracks, and when you see the cracks, you don't want to be around them anymore, and then those cracks just gush all over you, and then you're fucked. So you're just like. And I'm not saying I don't have cracks, but what I am saying is that when I am kicked out of someone's life, I look at myself a lot, and I ask myself what the fuck I did wrong.
Yeah.
And I always like using Hannah Minx as an example. great example.
So there's
and Hannah Minx essentially kicked me out of her life, and it was because I said I love you way too soon.
After 2 weeks or something.
Or something like that. I said she wasn't ready for that, and I threw it at her. Yeah, I love you, and yeah, and so I was like, okay, I fucked up, and that was the end of it. It wasn't fucking Hannah Minx this or that. It was like, oh, I fucked up, and that's how I like to handle rejection. But that's not how it works for everyone, especially since I have depression. When you have depression, you're probably going to blame yourself more anyway. But
yeah, if people aren't willing to stick by your side, like by you, when there's like bad things happening in your life or their life, and a real friend would stick by it no matter what, you know. And if those people kick you out of their lives,
are you a danger to that friend?
Well, yeah, I mean,
if someone's a danger to someone, you have to get away from them, and that's been a very consistent thing.
Yeah, so I mean, choosing the right friends is also a big point of it. But if it's like somebody who's usually healthy, like friendship with you, like most of my friends I've never really had problems with because like I just have a good relationships with the people that I meet. I just choose the right people. But
lucky you.
This is why that's the thing, like the relationship can start out well and they can be good people like at the start, but then they turn into fucking toxic people.
Yeah, but the thing is, if they're toxic people, then they're not worth your time, you know?
Maybe it's complicated.
It's always complicated.
Yeah, it's always complicated.
The toxic people are the ones that are gonna act the craziest, too.
Yeah.
But my point is,
about yourself and what more you can do for yourself.
What if everyone asked, how can I make myself less toxic?
I don't think
because it seems like we all look to others, you know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like why I was talking about that thing just now. When I said I love you too soon, dating Hannah Minx or whatever. When I said that, I didn't literally ask myself that, but it fell in line with how can I make myself less toxic. And that's something that it would be good for everyone to do. How do you keep yourself safe? How do you keep yourself less toxic? And unfortunately, that doesn't get you video views. But that's a lifestyle that I prefer.
I've definitely
that's my 2020 goal.